Welcome everyone. This is Winget inside Intune Remediation scripts, and my name is David Shosh. First things first, let's thank our sponsors that we can be here and they are paying most of the food, if not all. A bit about myself. I'm a security domain architect at Switch, which is a non-profit foundation in Switzerland, working in higher education and research space. I'm a former SRE and a recovering SharePoint architect. My relationship with Git is complicated. Hopefully I don't need to do much Git here, and if you let me, I will tell you that PowerShell notebooks are awesome and you should use them a lot. This is not a session where I can use them, but the message is the same. And the goal of the session is to look at alternatives before we arrive to the Intune remediation scripts. Share my journey, which was long and there were ups and downs in it. The downs being the errors I made. In the context, we have a small fleet of hardened Windows devices, fully centralized, from management standpoint, from monitoring standpoint. We don't have local admin rights. There is no way to install anything, not even into user scope. So if you download VS Code user installer, it won't work. If you download Chrome, it won't work. You could download the zip file, but that's not blocked. Too much effort. But we need people to have the ability to install this or that, or we want those things to be pre-installed. And those things are less than 10 apps. So it's hard to justify any subscription because, probably talking about it costs more than the subscription would. And time and my soul is precious for me. So how hard can it be to do it myself, right? Well, it is a lot harder than I thought. And we do this not because it's easy, but because we thought it will be easy. Yeah. It wasn't. So the alternatives, yes, we have the paid subscriptions. They cost money. You need to consider their security if they could be a source of a supply chain compromise. You need to deal with internal bureaucracy, the length of the process to get through them, which is hard and long, or we can do it by hand, like go through every laptop's, plug in some special credentials which give you admin, use labs, for example, to do the installation, but do it every month or every time when there is an update. It's just soul crushing. We could package apps for Intune, but for that we need Windows or some pipelines and understand how to package apps, which I looked at it and turned away right away. That's not for me. Well, that was how I was thinking about it a year ago. In tomorrow's session, I might be doing some packaging, but not an alternative to this. Or we can look at Intune platform scripts. There is no documentation around when those supposed to exactly run. They say after you rebooted and after you signed in, they will run. I could not really confirm with research that they actually do, and they do it timely, so I would not recommend them. I tried, no. And we can easily end up with remediation scripts which have scheduling on it, weekly, daily or hourly. Don't know when in the hour. Daily, in that case, you can say when in the hour or one time. And of course, you can run them on demand if you have Intune admin role active. And that's good enough. We heard yesterday that sysadmins are a type which do not read the docs. I didn't. That was a mistake. So when it comes to Intune, it is highly recommended that you read the docs. And when those are lacking, go ask ChatGPT or go to Discord and find the Windows server or something like that, and the Intune channel, and ask the question. There will be someone there giving you a blog post. People are awesome. So the main errors I made, again, I did not read the docs. I should have. The devices were not new, so they have been in use, and I thought that they have been used like how I use a machine. They were not, so they were never really customized. Nougat was not present, because if you start PowerShell and you want to download the module, it will ask you, do you need, and you don't have Nougat, it will ask you, can I install it? And it will put it into your user scope. That is not blocked by the user level installer, yay. But that was never done, and because of the restrictions, Intune remediation scripts must run as system. But if you run as system, you have a different context, you have different rules, it's like a different universe. And if you spend, or in my case, if I spend 1 month or 2 months doing something else, I can forget about these little things, go back, continue, and this is weird, why I have this error? Oh, right, system. And one example is I download a module into my user scope. It works fine. I'm testing my script. Perfect. I'm happy. I upload it into Intune. I ran it. Of course, it does nothing on my machine because I already tested the script. But on the other machines, no one did any thing before, so it will fail. And yeah, you need to scope everything to local machine or system or something similar. And there are, of course, the exceptions. For example, .NET. If you install it with Winget, you cannot say system scope because the package does not have it. So if you install it without scope, it goes into system. Yes, the Nougat error. We have all seen this. I even see it yesterday in one session, I believe. And usually you just say yes and it's done. Not with Intune. Not in system context, but more about that later. And let's go to the demos. First thing first, just to expand on the context, I don't know how to make this bigger. I don't have zoom in this VM, but I have a couple of PowerShell modules pre-installed. Pre-installed means I ran the remediation script. You hopefully see that there is the module for Winget is missing. It's called Microsoft Winget module configuration, whatever. It should show up later, around 11 minutes from now. So we will come back later. That's where the scheduling kicks in. And some others will also pop up later. And these are in program files, Windows PowerShell modules, which is both used by Windows PowerShell and PowerShell 7. Okay. And my code is here. I have a repository, links will be shared, and in new machines or machines where all the restrictions are in place, Winget is not really updated. And in some cases, if you open the Windows Store, even that won't open. I'm told by the product group that now it's supposed, when you install a device, it will start updating Winget automatically. There are some bugs there, they are working on it. In my case, a year ago, I had to have a remediation script to deal with Winget. And of course, Winget by Windows is called Desktop App Installer. If you open the Microsoft Store, you will see the Desktop App Installer being updated. That's just Winget. I guess naming things is complicated. And because of the system scope, no. Winget doesn't exist in system scope. So if you somehow open a PowerShell terminal with system and you type Winget, it will say no such command because it's a Windows app and it is located in a weird folder. That folder being with program files, Windows apps, Desktop App Installer, version, etc. So when it comes to using Winget with system scope, you basically have to build your own pass, and from there you can go into that folder and then you can just use Winget exe like this. There is a PowerShell module. It works. It works if you are system, I'm told, but I just showed them yesterday that that's actually not the case, and I will show it later. So sadly, at the moment, we need this approach, find the Winget exe and call it directly. And one thing I learned is that I need logging because I start a script, it runs or doesn't run, I don't know. So I was like, okay, let's do file-based. Let's do a transcript. We know transcripts, we have been using them for a long time. Let's create a pass in program data. System can write there, we can read, easy. And just do a start transcript. What can be wrong? Well, I don't have access to the machine running the script with Intune because it might be in a different city. How do I get this log file? Luckily, in my case, there is Defender for endpoint, and I can go into Defender and start a live investigation, open a remote session to the machine, go into the folder, get the file content. Ugly, but it works. It doesn't scale. Luckily, in my case, I basically need one machine to confirm that things are happening, and when I solve that other machine, all the others will work because the environment is uniform, except when it doesn't. But for like, I don't know, 3-4 months, this was fine. I could just go into Defender, look at the logs, bother no one, easy. And no real architecture considerations were needed. How should I do logging properly? Probably I should have started with that, but as I said, how hard can it be? The other thing I had to learn is Winget need exit codes. Sorry, not Winget. Intune remediation script is looking for exit codes. So when it's all good, you need exit 0. When it's bad, you need exit 1. And I see I'm missing exit 0 here, but because I always know that this is going to fail, and then it's not a biggie. It will be in different scripts, of course. And we also need to provide output. It's a combination. There needs to be something printed on the output and the exit code together. This is not properly documented, or it wasn't a year ago, so I spent some time figuring that out. And of course, I was hesitant to use ChatGPT. That was a mistake. More recently, I'm just asking ChatGPT, looking at the examples, and they work. Magic. So there are cases where being hesitant is going to cost you time and your soul. This is one of those things, or one of those cases. And of course, I'm heading over to Intune. And I'm in a VM. Outside my VM, I have this one open. So we are in Windows devices, Windows, and scripts and remediations. There is the platform scripts, which you should stay away from. And we have the remediation scripts. You didn't tell me that you cannot see it. That's okay. So I made some remediation scripts already. The double scroll bar. You can put emojis there. It works. And because Microsoft puts their logo there, I kind of like one emoji there to make the text be in one line. You can call that OCD. And as you can see right now, all is passing. And when it comes to scheduling, it wasn't obvious for me for some time, so I was creating the packages, selecting my all device group, being happy, clicking next, done. And I never actually click the daily, the schedule column, because if you click it, you will see it's 1 a.m. Which machine is running at 1 a.m.? Like, what about boundaries, right? So everything was scheduled at 1 a.m. Of course, nothing ran. But on my machine, it was fine because I was testing it and I was running it myself. So try to find the time slot when you can expect the machines to be powered on, or you could do hourly, but you can't really know when that means. And if you have a lot running hourly, maybe they will wanna all run in the same time. And that can be problematic with logging. I will get there. So in other cases, I'm like 5 past 9, 10 past 9, etc. And I have them scheduled. And because I know that the people who use those machines usually have a meeting from 9, they have to be in. I know that the machines will be running. Okay. Let's check my to-do. Okay. So transcripts are nice, but in my case, they override themselves. You could consider every time creating a new one, but then you need a remediation script to probably clean up the old ones. I didn't want that. I figured if there is an error and it's a repeating error, I will just see the error, and if the error is gone, I don't need to know it. And as I went and time passed, I realized I need better logging. But if we look at my other examples like installing Git, I did not have that issue. Installing Git is easy, updating Git is easy. The only thing which I haven't realized is that I knew how to search with Winget to find the installer. I never realized that if I'm doing a Winget list, it will give back everything and show if there is an update. But also Winget is not PowerShell, so that's basically text and I need to capture it and parse it and like, no. So there is a command called get package and that basically does the same thing, and in some cases the package name in Winget is different than the package name in get package. Why not? Of course. So I was comparing in Winget it's git and in get package it's just git. I don't have localization issues. Luckily, if you have localizations like not non-English Windows, thoughts and prayers. And basically, yes, and in this case, I'm actually parsing that text, yes, converting it into CSV and giving it a header, and it works if you properly search for git. If it returns multiple ones, you might mess up, so you definitely need to use the actual package versions, otherwise you could get surprises. And then I just compare the version numbers. If it's the same, I'm happy. If it's not, let's install it. Highly recommend accept agreements, even if that's not required, source and package agreement both, and specify machine, and of course force. What can be wrong? This one actually works, except with .NET SDK. And we can also install this way PowerShell 7. I, of course, did not do this originally, or in this lab machine. This is a VM. I installed it from the store because I don't want to bother updating it, or I didn't. And because it was living in my user folder, system didn't know what PWUSH is. So I needed this, and now, surprise, surprise, I have PowerShell mine and PowerShell 7 as the system one, but it works, luckily. So installing PowerShell, same thing. You check if it's installed. If not, you install it. Works like the charm. Same with VS Code. VS Code extensions is a different thing. I have a session with Björn tomorrow installing VS Code extensions with Intune, like packaged and put them into the Intune My Company portal. Yes, My Company app, so people can install extensions from there, because you shouldn't trust that people don't install something malicious looking like the real deal and get hacked that way. So this is what was easy so far. And I mentioned Nougat being a painful one. When detecting is Nougat installed, it's actually a package provider. So you are not checking. This is not Winget, but it's a prerequisite for other things. And it's a remediation script. So you can check package providers. And if they are not there, trigger the installation script. and install package provider should work. Not always, not on all machines in my case. And using labs and getting people to come to my city with their laptop wasn't really working. So as an alternative, I have a one-time run with by hand. It's ugly, it lacks all logging. It's just grabbing the DLL from a storage blob and placing it into the appropriate folder. And basically, that is what Nougat is all about. It just have to be a DLL in a specific path and nothing more. And this, it's not even scheduled. I just run it on a machine where there is a problem and it works all the time. I don't need logs. But of course, with more complex things, which is not just a DLL, you need logs, definitely. Now, the next challenge was, okay, how am I going to do logging? And somewhere I have an example where I was like, okay, let's create one single file and that would contain the history of all script execution. A single file, and every remediation script is going to write into that one. Easy, right? It's just out file, some information, and magic. Well, it works until you have something scheduled in the same time or similar times, or running them takes more time, and one blocks the file and the other one can't write into it in the same time. Of course, it happened with me, so don't do that. Learn from my mistake. Okay, but what else? I could use Azure monitoring agent integration, but that takes a lot of work, effort, more complexity to manage, more costs probably. So not the right approach. Script block logging, we know that that's a good thing for security. It's super verbose, so you might the one risk with it is that it generates too much, and if you are slow, you might don't see what you are looking for because it's already deleted. And of course, it is on the machine. You need to get that information from the machine. The Defender live investigation isn't the right approach because it's not easy to read from Windows event logs, especially when you have a lot of them. And I eventually ended up with Application Insights. There is a PowerShell module for it, and you give it an instrumentation key, and you can start sending your logs into Azure. You get retention. All the logs are in one place, not on the machine, not anymore. You can query them for 90 days. You can even go crazy and create some sort of dashboard if you want. You can even implement heartbeat, so a script running every hour and just doing no installation, just logging that I'm running, I'm here. Just to have a feel that devices are working, because Intune compliance and Intune, it's not as reliable. There is this, hey Intune, go to the machine, get some information for me. And Intune knows that it needs information, but Intune is not reaching out to the machine. It's the machine which needs to check, hey Intune, do I have something to do? Yes, you do. Here is the instruction. With laptops running on battery, saving battery power, or going into sleep for 3 minutes because no one touched them for 3 minutes isn't super reliable. And I guess in this case I should mention, if you can prevent the machines to go into sleep, and Intune will be a lot more reliable for you. But okay, application insights, I need modules, I need to install them. Let's install them. And originally, from page side, I knew that I need a new PowerShell get version, I need a new package management, PS readline, because I like my history presented in a list view, and the new pester. So I already had a remediation script doing that installation, and for this demo, I split it into two to show you my mistake, of course, again. When it came to checking if I should install or not, I was checking if a file was present, just a DLL in one of the modules. And it wasn't, so the remediation script got triggered and the modules were installed easy. But because it was already installed by the first execution, it was never failing again. It was never actually doing any version upgrades. So I unknowingly version pinned my modules to the version they were first installed. Because I was always checking a file which was already present, so no updates were actually ever made. Luckily, this is a hardened environment. These modules I need, they don't change that much, but if you rely on something more lively, you probably should somehow make this more dynamic. I don't have any good ideas how to do that. Yeah. And then I had to do the extra modules, and I'm basically just expanding the list. This is also checking the Winget DLL, and Winget is not here, so why not? This is the part which should show up at 9:20, 12 minutes ago. So you expand, you run it, they will get installed. And when I say run it, I mean you go to your device, find your device, and here behind these three dots there is run remediation. And you find your remediation script and say run. This has some prerequisites. The first time you run something, it takes more time. Intune does all the prerequisite installation. After it, it takes around 3 to 5 minutes. And my approach is I'm clicking away and I'm going back to overview, and eventually pending will change to complete. In the same time, I kept my local folder with the logs and the transcripts, and we can already see that the v2 check was running. And sorry for the size. This is now. So it was pretty quick. It was not 1 minute ago when I clicked run and it ran already. And if I go back, I have Winget now. The module, easy. All good, but how do you troubleshoot? This is where you need to be system. Being system means you need to elevate your context. There is a nice module for it called invoke command as. And I'm doing the nice up. Invoke command as can take a script block and you can say you want to run it as system. What this does, it's going to create a scheduled task and run your script block in that scheduled task as system. I was expecting that this would trigger some detections. It didn't. So I guess this is safe from Microsoft Defender standpoint. The approach is you need a while loop forever. You need something and you need a little bit of sleep. So this will do the calculation, sleep, do the calculation, sleep. And you need local admin for that. This is where labs comes in. Then you can get your local admin password from Intune and do a start process PowerShell and enter the credentials. It won't be local admin. You need to start task scheduler from it. That will give you the option to start another process and check the box run as admin. Then you have a console with local admin. Then you can run this. Then you can do enter PS host process. And I'm not going through all of these hoops. I'm just going to do this. And when you have enter PS host process, let's see, okay. Wrong button. I don't need this one. And I need the right ID. Ta-da! I'm system. And from here you can test your scripts. You will get the same restrictions as the same scopes, which otherwise Intune is facing, and you can access or not access the same things the similar way. This is all legit. Defender does not trigger. If someone disabled debugging, this won't work. I didn't, so it works. And as I said, Winget is not known. And otherwise, you get it all working. And finally, there is one more complex where I combined everything into one. And that is a Viscosity VPN installer. I am using the PS App Insights module to log into Application Insights. I have instrumentation key stored as a system level environment variable. You can put it there with an Intune remediation script or going to the machine and editing the system level environment variables, but after it works. And I'm starting PowerShell 7 exe and capturing all the output. And then I'm sending that output into Application Insights. And real quick, I'm going to run it, and it's supposed to be as fast as the other things was. Well, I'm not going to run it, it's not here. But, because I know the path, I can do this. Yes, the other problem is that script execution is by default disabled. That includes the system scope. And I had this issue yesterday that it's restricted, and I said undefined, come on, and it stayed restricted. This is a brand new bug. I did not have this before. The Windows team messed up something for me. Surprisingly, all the other things were installing, like I ran the module installer script and that ran. So when Intune does it, it works. When I'm doing it this way right now, it doesn't. Yesterday it worked. I had a Windows update this morning, of course. Thank you. So yes, Windows update can mess with you. But otherwise, you should see in Application Insights your custom events showing up with all the informations. Which I don't have. Sorry about that. But you can trust me. Okay, so a quick recap. Read the Intune docs, ask ChatGPT, ask the experts, have return codes, print something to the output, be careful or yes, take attention on the scheduling of your scripts, and unless you really don't need advanced logging, stay away from file-based logging or keep it together in application insights and files. But if it's file-based, you need a way to get those logs. And if you don't have Defender access, it gets very tricky. And with that, I left you 2 minutes for questions. Yes. Any questions?
How many devices do you manage like that?
So the question was how many devices I manage? Less than 10. We have a security operations center with the hardened devices, and it's less than 10. And that's why justifying license costs for Patch My PC, for example, which you get 2,000 licenses in the base package, is a hard thing to sell.
The instrumentation key is a variable and variable isn't a security issue. Everyone can read it.
The question was, is the instrumentation key for application insights, is that a security issue or not? In my environment, it's not. We are all trusted. It's managed hardened workstations. There is everyone who has access to a machine, they have access to application insights to see the logs. So they can see the instrumentation key in Azure as well. So no, we are all trusted from that standpoint. And yeah, it's not on the internet. It's not in the GitLab repo. So it's not an issue for us, but you definitely need to assess that risk. Thank you.